Hello agents, it's been a while again. Happy New Year. I hope 2021 is better for all of us. Boy, 2020 was a mess. Thank you for taking the time to check this build out, and if it helps you out in any way, remember to hit that subscribe button, smash that like button, and destroy the notification bell so you never miss an upload from me. I also stream on Twitch most days, and I use all of my builds extensively before I publish them here. So, if you want to come in for any tips, tricks, build ideas, or just to enjoy the madness and the carnage, link will be down in the description. With all of that out of the way, let's get into today's video. I was sitting on Discord with my boy DJ Dizzle, and we're discussing solo builds. There aren't many good solo builds out there, and solo in general is quite hard. So this one is for all of you my solo players out there. You can run it in a group, but solo, it is where it really shines. It provides you with a lot of survivability, tankiness, armor regen, and it packs quite the punch. What is this beast, you ask? Let me show you. We have 2-piece golem gear for that 10% status, which empowers our bleed duration, and 1% armor regen. Followed by the named Murakami knees, the Emperor's Guard, for another 1% armor regen. And 1-piece Bellstone Armory for another 1% regen, giving us a total of 3% armor regen. We have 1.7 million armor, so that gives us around 60,000 armor regeneration per second. Pretty nuts, huh? But Godlike, where is the damage? I want to see the damage. Okay, fine. Settle down. Let me tell you about the damage. Firstly, we have one Sokolov piece for that amazing 10% SMG damage. And also, we're making use of the RIDGEWAY'S Pride exotic chest piece, right here, and the perfectly wicked talent on our backpack, which gives us 18% more damage for 27 seconds just by putting them on the bleed. Amazing, right? Let me give you a closer look at each piece. We have the Sokolov mask with armor, crit chance, crit damage, and a crit damage mod. Followed by the RIDGEWAY'S Pride exotic chest piece. Weapon damage, crit chance, crit damage, and a crit damage mod. With the talent Bleeding Edge, which reads, shooting enemies within 15 meters applies bleed to the target. Repair 3 to 48% of your armor per second for every enemy that is bleeding within 15 meters. Repair strength per number of bleeding enemies. For 1 bleeding enemy, we get 3% of armor. For 2 bleeding enemies, we get 6% armor. For 3 bleeding enemies, we get 12% armor. For 4 bleeding enemies, we get 24% armor. And finally, for 5 bleeding enemies, we get 48% of armor per second. Now, we're probably not going to get all of these, but that is what the talent is. So, the whole idea is we're closing the gap with the SMG. We start the fight at 50 meters and closer, and upon shooting our enemy, we put them on the bleed status effects, proccing the wicked talent on our backpack, and also proccing Bleeding Edge on our chest, giving us the armor regen while we are fighting. Our backpack is the named Golem Gear backpack, the Anarchist's Cookbook, with armor, crit chance, crit damage, and a crit damage mod. It comes with the talent Perfectly Wicked, which reads, applying a status effect increases total weapon damage by 18% for 27 seconds. It's not that big a deal if you use Normal Wicked, by the way, since the only difference between Normal Wicked and Perfectly Wicked is the duration of the buff, which is, I think, 20 seconds on the Normal Wicked. So, if you don't have the Perfect Wicked, don't worry about it. You can use any backpack with Wicked and then just have another golem piece somewhere else in the build. It's important to let you guys know about that. So if you have another backpack, feel free to use it. At this point in the build, we are starting to cap out on crit chance. So we're going to replace it with some extra armor regen to get us healthy even faster. Our gloves are the second golem piece, giving us that juicy 1% armor regen, and they have armor, armor regen, and crit damage. Our knee pads are the Emperor's Guards with armor, 1% armor regen, and crit damage. Let me show you the stats before I forget, like I always do. Oh, and our holster as well is the Bellstone Armory holster, armor, armor regen, crit damage. Our stats. We have 59% crit chance. If we max out all the stats, we'll probably have about 60. We have about 155% crit damage. As you can see, a lot of damage in this very defensive build. And we have that 60,000 armor regen. Pretty amazing, right? Okay, as for weapons, we have quite a few options here. I personally am really loving the MPX with damage target out of cover and in sync. In sync is still the most insane damage talent in the game. And it gets procced when you pull out your shield, giving you an insane 30% weapon damage buff when you engage your target. Sadist is also an acceptable option. But I find that if the opposing player is using hazard protection to try and counter you and is immune to bleed, then you do no damage whatsoever and the fight gets a lot harder. It's still winnable, but it gets a lot harder. Having in sync to start the fight just feels great, and you still beat your mark even if they're trying to outplay you with that Hasbro. You should also know that if the enemies are trying to foam you or set you on fire, you need to get really good at dodging skills. If you don't dodge them or you're unable to, without having hazard protection on your build, unfortunately your life will be pretty difficult and you will probably end up dying and getting overwhelmed. It is how the game is now. All the builds counter each other. Luckily for you, I have made a really good SMG Hasbro build on my channel, so just go ahead and make that as well. As I always say, you need at least one Hasbro build in your loadouts for those agents that like to spam the foam, the fire, bleed hives, etc. Like I always say, you've got to pay the Hasbro tax. Other primaries that you can try are, of course, the good old Lady Death that never goes out of fashion. It got nerfed a little bit with the stacks, but it's still absolutely amazing. It still does a lot of damage. So that's a really good option if you want to try that out. It also makes you run faster between kills. It's quite a lot of fun to use. So you can try that one out for yourselves if you prefer. I just wanted something really different. I got tired of having every build use Lady Death, so that's why I felt like, you know what, we need a change. The MPX just feels really amazing. I really like how it feels. But you can also do a vector. You can do a vector with in sync. You can do a vector with a sadist. It's entirely up to you. I suggest a small vector. It's really good. But the biggest issue that I have with a vector is because we have 1.7 million armor, it's possible that you might not be able to one-clip your opponent. With the MPX, we have a very large magazine of over 50 bullets, which allows us to, you know, even miss a couple of shots and maybe still down our target. Where with the vector, unfortunately, you just can't do that sometimes, and if they're moving, if they have really good movement, perhaps you won't be able to one-clip them. But you can try it for yourselves. Maybe you guys like it. I'm just giving you those options. The Banshee is also an amazing alternative. It's a good gun. I personally don't like it as much as the MPX, but if you have a good Banshee, try that one out as well. I don't know why, but I personally don't like the Banshee, how it feels, how it shoots. Something about it, I cannot put my finger on it. I just feel like the MPX is a better option. But you guys are free to choose whichever one you prefer. As my secondary, I am running a custom M870 MCS shotgun with Sadist on it. Now I usually pull out my shotgun to finish someone off. They're low, they need it one tap, and the shotgun is great for that. Perhaps my shield is broken, and I've used my sticky EMP, so I have no way of proccing my sync right now. If I don't, then my primary weapon will do considerably less damage. But that's fine though. Our target will still be bleeding, we have Wicked going, and we just give them that crispy one tap with the shotgun. It works really, really well. And that brings us to our skills of choice. We are running an EMP sticky bomb as one of our dedicated skills. Sticky EMP is one of the best skills in PvP. It not only disables your opponent in the way of stagger, but also prevents them from using their skills for a long time in the fight. If you land it, chances are you're probably going to win. Jammer works really, really nicely against skills that are on the ground, such as hives, seeker mines, and the such. Drones in the air as well. It is a very good alternative, especially if you're playing against a healer. If I see a healer on the enemy team, I immediately switch to Jammer so I can disrupt the skills. Or if I see a status player that wants to block off a piece of the map with his hive, I will just EMP that hive and then we can push through it, right? It works really good. Just remember, you gotta adapt to what your opponents are running. Okay, and as for our second skill, we're running the good old Striker Firewall Ballistic Shield. It gives us a nice buff in damage and protects our body. We all hate the shields, let's be honest. Nobody likes the shields. They slow you down, they don't look as fun and everything, but they are the meta. So use them or don't use them, it's entirely up to you. You could use a Striker drone to proc you in sync if you don't want to use a shield. But the shield is certainly best in slot, and most players, if not all the players in the Dark Zone and PvP, run the shield. So it's up to you guys, but at the end of the day, you'll be putting yourself at a big disadvantage if you don't use the shield. As far as our spec, we're running Firewall. Firewall is one of the best when it comes to PvP. We have an amazing medkit. We can use it either offensively or defensively. It's just great. It gives us so many options to outplay our opponents. Our shield, as mentioned, the Striker shield variant, gives us damage. We pull out the shield. If the enemy is in the cone of fire in front of us, we do more damage. That is just amazing. And yeah, that is about it, my friends. I recommend you give this one a try. I think you will enjoy this build when you're playing solo. You're very tanky, you survive, you do damage. It's just amazing. I really hope you guys like it. Let me know down in the comments if you've tried this build, if you found success with this build. I want to know, guys, how do you feel? Did you enjoy this? Thank you very much for spending the time here. Thank you so much for watching my video. Once again, leave that like, subscribe. I've got quite a few builds coming your way, guys. I think you'll like them. All the best. I love you guys. And I'll see you in the next video. Godlike out.